Nico Horning joined live. No, this is not AI. We are live. Ahmed Fareed from Milan Cortina in Italy. I'm in SF. I'm in San Francisco on Radio Row. Ahmed is all the way overseas in Italy, and what a beautiful backdrop. First of all, Ahmed, happy to be with you. A host of a versatile, numerous events in NBC Sports, and he's out there for the Olympics.
I am out here. Yeah, you guys reached out a couple of days ago because the last couple of years I have been in San Francisco or wherever the Super Bowl has been, and at Radio Row, and been able to talk to you guys. You guys like, hey, you guys coming? You coming again? No, I'll be in a different country, but still available. Maybe at a different time than you are. You had to get up early for this one though. But yeah, I am outside the Duomo, the signature site here in Milan, and our TV tower for NBC Sports is actually going to be overlooking there. So I'll take the umbrella down and get wet just for a second. So there's our TV tower. So we'll do our daytime NBC shows from inside there with the beautiful backdrop of the Duomo. So no, Nico, I'm pumped to be out here. It's Olympics number 6 for me. They're all a little different, and they're definitely a blast when you get to be on the ground, which we are again this year.
So awesome. And I love the fact that you're doing this on the phone too, because you're showing us the backdrop right away. You got the set there, you got the beautiful backdrop. This is awesome. Looking at this Olympics a little bit, what's the anticipation like going into this particular Winter Olympics out in Italy?
Well, I think what we saw in Paris was that the Olympic magic, the spirit is still there. And not that we ever doubted that it wouldn't be there, but when you have a couple Olympics in a row, the time differences are tough out in Beijing and Pyeongchang. Fans not there for Tokyo. You just go, okay, has the Olympic Games, has the movement, has it lost a little bit of its luster? And then we saw just a couple of years ago in Paris, no, that's not the case. The whole world can come together for an event, which it did. And so I think we're feeling that momentum here in Italy. Now, the Winter Games, a little bit different than the Summer Games, not as many countries participating, fewer events, fewer athletes, but still cool. And the stakes are still so high. And for us, we have so many members of Team USA who are superstars and have been superstars for a while. Lindsey Vonn trying to do it now on an injury. Let's see if she can recapture some of that magic from years past. Ilya Malinin, the quad god, figure skating. He's pulling off quad jumps that we have never seen before. So you see that, the Chloe Kims, the Michaela Schifrins. And so these are legitimate big-time superstars. And so always tracking their stories is something that's going to be interesting for a lot of people. And so that's what we'll do. So, Nico, that's what I'm so pumped about, is that you have the high stakes, you have the beautiful backdrop of Italy, but then you have some legitimate superstars who are trying to do things that no one has ever done before.
We're all hoping that Lindsay can recover and at least be good to go. I know that was just terrible timing for all that, but we'll see how that progresses. I was talking to Scott Hansen last week about the I guess the medal count between the summer and the winter. The winter for the US specifically, each one, it matters a little bit more just because of the less amount of events and all of that. So how does that kind of play into it, and what should fans sort of expect this time around instead of the summer where there seems to be so many gold medals clicking in every minute?
Yeah. Well, Scott's doing the gold zone. For the first time, we're doing it for winter games. And so, yeah, there are more sports for the summer. So if Scott could handle it for Paris in the summer, he's fine for Italy and what we're going to throw at him for this. And so, no, yeah, that's exactly right. That's a good way to put it, is that each event, each sport, each medal chance that the U.S. has is that much more important because you have fewer of those opportunities. And we'll track that. We show it at the end of every one of our shows, the medal count going into the next day and at the end of this day. I do think, though, and we do track it, and of course, gold is awesome. And for some athletes, just getting on the podium is a dream come true for them. I think what we do a pretty good job, though, of, yes, we're U.S. focused. All the stars that I just listed to you are U.S. athletes. But when there's a story of, say, an Italian athlete doing something great and the home country's response here on home soil, we're going to show that. We're going to play that up. Leon Marchand, the swimmer in Paris a couple of years ago. What great scenes inside that pool, in that arena. And so I think that's the cool. Yes, we're going to track the gold medals and Team USA and trying to get to the top of that list. But at the same time, there's going to be amazing stories from a bunch of different athletes from a bunch of different countries. And hopefully we can tell those in a way that that matter to everyone watching back home.
Nico Horning here with Ahmed Fareed, a Syracuse grad. We'll get into that in a moment as well. But Ahmed, I'm curious, just because I know we're watching the backdrop and all that, and give us a little bit of lay of the land. How far are you guys from? I know you'll be in the studio right there, but as far as some of the actual events, the slopes, the weather, the elevation, how is all that? Because I know it's raining where you are right now. How is
Yeah.
all that coming together?
Yeah, in Milan, there's no snow here. We just have
Yeah.
had a lot of rain. I think we're going to have temperatures mid 40s, even lower 50s here over the next couple days. And so most of the events here in Milan are indoors. And so you have the figure skating and the hockey, and you have some of those events that are taking on indoor events here in Milan. It's the first Olympics that we've really had two cities that have officially been named as hosts. So you got Milan and Cortina, the Dolomites, the mountains. They're getting the snow, they're getting the cold weather, but it does make covering the games more challenging for our crew. I was on the charter over here with a bunch of us NBC people, and I got off with Sam Brock, who does stuff for NBC News. And he's going to go cover some of the events for us. He's going to Livigno, and I was like, "Oh, so what do you got to do?" We just took a 7.5 hour flight from JFK. He's like, "Well, I jump in a car and go 5 hours to
Oh,
Livigno," and so just covered logistically. And of course, none of that really matters to anyone watching back home. But logistically, it is a difficult Olympics for us. It makes it so not all the athletes can necessarily participate in an opening ceremony or a closing ceremony, which is a bummer. But some of the backdrops are going to be amazing. You know, you get the Swiss Alps and all that, and those mountains, and some of these famous mountains that you see on World Cup downhill skiing venues and events. We're going to see them for the Olympics, and so it's going to look awesome. But it is so spread out, and so I do think, Nico, that's part of the challenge for us is explaining. It's like, hey, where this event is, this is 3 hours west, this is 5 hours north, and things
got it.
like that, because it is unique. It makes this Olympics very unique.
Totally. Well, that should be kind of fun to listen to. A little bit of geography lessons going
Yeah.
on for all of us back here in the States. Olympics should be fun. That's coming up. I know you'll be hosting opening weekend during the day, and then you're going to be coming back to host the All-Star game for the NBA. How does this time of year shape up for you? How do you kind of keep things on time or ahead, especially for some of those who are, looking to get into broadcasting at a young age?
Yeah, well, this month is so unusual. There's no training for this month,
Yeah.
with what we have with the opening ceremony, and then 2 days later, yeah, opening ceremony. 2 days later, you have the Super Bowl, and then a week later, you got the NBA All Star Game and the weekend festivities. So we have no idea how to do something like this because we've never done anything like it before. I think what NBC has taught me and my career has taught me up to this point is you just have to be agile. And no, you don't need to be an expert in all of it. You've got writers, you've got some researchers, especially on the Olympic side, that are experts on a lot of this stuff. You don't have to be an expert, but you have to be informed and you have to be curious. And when something is happening, be like, wait a second, I read something about that before. Should we dive deeper into this? And so I think that's going to happen here the weekend that I'm covering the Olympics. It's definitely going to happen at the All Star break. And we talked to some of those rookies and sophomores on Friday when it all starts there. So it is hard because you feel like, man, if I'm not an expert in everything here, how can I inform the public and inform America? But at the same time, you can't expect that from yourself. You just need to be curious at the right times, know where the information is. We'll have research manuals with us at all times. And so ask the question, try to figure it out, ask help. You got a lot of coworkers that are helping. And so that's our kind of mantra for NBC is deliver the information at the time that it needs to be delivered, and do your best at it.
The NBC research team I know is very good. Mike Tirico always everyone talks about it, just how helpful that can be. Maybe explain to the audience a little bit just how much you rely on them and how that process works, where you guys don't have to fully dig out everything yourself.
Yeah. So, it's if we had to know everything about every athlete in the Winter Olympics, it wouldn't happen. It's not possible. So you have researchers who have been awesome, who are specialists in the sport, have been tracking it, have been traveling to some of the world championships on off Olympic years, and so they have actually made contact with these athletes, written some of the stories down. So they have intimate knowledge of these people, and so of course you're going to rely on them if they're sitting in the room with you, if they've written the research manual, just to look at what they've gathered. Olympics is a whole different level. I would say, Nico, for most of the things I do, don't really have a writer. You do have a researcher, but no writers. But Olympics, it's writer, researcher, just because of all these stories. You tell them once every 4 years. If they're sport specific, ski jumping, we tell that story once every 4 years. And so to have that help and to have that information, it's you couldn't do the job any other way. But it's the same way, Nico, for basketball. It's like we get a pretty big research manual every time we have a game, if it's Clippers, Hornets, or whatever, and all the storylines that are happening with those teams, just so that we're informed. Because the main thing is when we're doing a game, we're talking to fans of those teams who are they know sometimes more than we do. And so we got to get up to their level and make sure that we're delivering a broadcast where they might even learn something.
What's your favorite winter Olympic sport if you have one?
That's always a tough question because it's like I I have a hard time picking one because I feel like I turn any of them on, ski jumping, speed skating, downhill skiing, and I'm like, oh man, I haven't seen this in 4 years. This is
Right.
amazing. This is awesome. So I have a hard time choosing one because I think all of them, when you watch them for 30 minutes, and especially if it's for a gold medal and it's not qualifying and the stakes are actually as high as they can actually get, I think they're all good. That's a non-answer to you because I find myself picking a different one every time I get asked that question. So now I just say, whatever is on at that moment, and if it's for a gold medal, I'm going to watch for 30 minutes. But this year, it's like, yeah, can Vaughn do it on an ACL tear? Can Michaela Schifrin come back from what happened 4 years ago when she, was so disappointed and so heartbroken by her performance at the Winter Olympics? The hockey with the NHL players and the professionals here. That's a huge story. Figure skating on the men's side with Ilya, and then the women's side haven't won a medal in so long individually in the singles side of things. Can they do it? So I could go on and on. So there are a lot of storylines, but I think this is not. I mean, it is an ad for NBC, but it's not. Whatever's on, if it's for a gold medal, I'm probably going to watch it and be into it.
Awesome. I love it. I mean, they're all equally impressive. It's pretty cool what some of these athletes can do. Enjoy Milan. I got to ask you though, Super Bowl wise,
Yeah.
what are you looking forward to just with these two teams who weren't even in the playoffs last year? It's pretty crazy. And
Yeah.
then a couple of quarterbacks, making their first starting appearance.
Well, what have you learned so far? You're on the ground there. You got any inside information that I can use for this prediction, or you got anything?
You know, um, Everyone's talking about this Patriots strength of schedule and how they've
Oh
gotten to this.
yeah,
Yeah, I know that's always the big conversation, but I think it's the Seattle defense that's been so lethal this year. I mean, both offenses have been good with their respective teams.
yeah,
But we'll see. I think if the Patriots can get to Darnold and have their offense going, and be in a good sunny environment, unlike Denver in that second half, they got a good
yeah,
shot. So we'll see. I do think Seattle has a little bit of the edge though. You have a
yeah. Well, they're not going to have to
Yeah,
face the snow. I
yeah,
think
that's
we
true.
can say they're gonna be okay there.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's funny because I was doing the Chris Sims Unbuttoned podcast for years, and I love working with Chris. But with my NBA stuff and a bigger role in college football this year, I didn't do the NFL podcast, and so I found myself. It's like to the point we were talking about earlier. You can't follow everything. I was like, dang, my NFL knowledge is not what it was just a year ago, and so I'm no longer an expert. Maybe I never was, but I would say it's hard to win 14 games in the NFL, no matter what the strength of schedule is. The bad teams lose more times than they win, and
Yep.
so you win 14 games, which both of these teams did in the regular season. I'm like, man, that's deserving. Say what you want about the schedule, and especially with the Seahawks and the division they played in. Obviously, all those teams were very good, and so I think both of these are deserving teams. How will it go? I do think, defense, the Seattle's going to make it tough. Although then you look at what the Rams did to them, you're like, man, did they figure something out? So this is a long way of saying I have no idea. I'm no longer an expert. I can pump that to people like you who are there on the ground, but I think it's just going to be a fun game. I love when the whole world comes together, kind of like for the Olympics, and so we'll all get to do that for the Super Bowl as well.
100% should be fun. Ahmed, thanks for taking the time. I know you're busy and you got to get ready for the Olympics, and thanks for the visuals as well. This has been great. Go Orange, and really appreciate the time.
Go Orange. And I should have just left this shot up the whole time. I feel like that would have worked just as well. 15
I
minutes
love
of
it.
that.
Yep.
Nico,
No, it's pretty.
anytime. Have
Thank
fun
you,
out
thank you.
there.
Thanks for everything. All right, Ahmed Fareed here on Newhouse Sports.